Hey guys, Dan with Philosophical Fishing, and this video is dedicated to Jacqueline, who suggested that I make a video about akathisia. And I had to actually look up how to pronounce that because I've never actually said akathisia correctly before. So I Googled akathisia and I Googled akathisia pronunciation, and I was practicing it for a little while. So before I started recording this video, I was going akathisia. So I think I got it. I think it's akathisia. And if I'm still saying it wrong, then it just is what it is for this video, and I apologize. But man, I hope y'all are doing well today. I've really begun enjoying making these videos because it does seem like you guys are really responding to it, and it seems like these videos are really helping you guys. And that's my intention, and that's the reason that I started making these videos in the first place. And all over the world, there's people struggling with benzodiazepine withdrawal, and to actually have a place where we can come together and not feel so alone and talk about not just what we experience with it and all the troubling symptoms and how horrible it is, although I think there's a place for that, and that's important too, because I think we have to have that identification with each other and to know that we're not alone. My whole concept of doing these videos and why I'm doing them is to talk about how do we heal and how do we get better and how do we go on from here and what do we do and how do we live now that we've gone through this process of coming off benzos. And some of us are not even off benzos. Some of us are still on them and just looking for hope or looking for the possibility of even coming off of benzos and living a new life again. And that's important because just like in my recovery community, for me, when I got sober off of drugs and alcohol and benzos and all this other stuff that I was taking, I needed to know that there was somebody who'd come before me who could show me that it was possible to get better and to recover and to come out the other side. I needed to see that demonstrated in front of me with my own eyes, and so I actually met people, saw people, talked to people who said, yes, I've been where you are now, and I've been through what you've been through, and I'm here to tell you, standing on the other side of it, it's possible. And you can come out the other side and you can live a better life. You can heal, you can recover from this. And there's just not a lot of that out there with benzos because so many people are so damaged by them for so long that I think the ones like me who are on the 28th of this month of September, I'll be 7 years benzo free. I don't think that there's a lot of people who come back to share their experience. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with those people, or I think that's just human nature to, once we're cleared and we're good and we're doing a lot better, I think it's natural just to go on with our lives. And it is for me too. I would love to do as much as I can and more for people who are still struggling. And, that's why I keep asking for suggestions from you guys, who some of you are just really early on in your journey and, have just come off of benzos or in the first few months or the first year. And you're just wondering, are all these symptoms, all this crazy stuff that I'm experiencing mentally and physically, is all this normal? Is it's been going on for so long now. Is it even possible to come out the other side and to recover from this and to have a normal life? Are any or all of these symptoms, are they ever going to fade away? Are they ever going to drop off? Do I ever have hope of getting healthy again? And that's where I feel like I can come in and say, yes, you can. Yes, you can, and you will. It's so possible, and it's done all the time. In my own experience, I've gone through a tremendous amount of healing. I know firsthand how it is to be so devastatingly beaten down where you're just like, oh my God, I can't go on another minute. I can't experience another second of this. And then to come out the other side and to feel these symptoms slowly, one by one, start to kind of drop off. I've been there. So Jacqueline, thank you for the suggestion for this video. Akathisia. I didn't even know that that was a term. I didn't even know that that was a thing. But I experienced it and I went through it and it was very unpleasant. It sucked really bad. So basically, what is akathisia? Akathisia is the internal feeling of I can't rest. I have to keep moving my body, and it's a internal feeling of restlessness whereby every time I would try to sit down and relax, I felt jumpy inside. I felt like my nervous system was like rattling inside my body and making me get up and have to move. And if I would try to sit down and watch a movie or a television program or what have you, I had this overwhelming drive to need to move my body and get up. It would not let me relax. It absolutely would not let me relax at all. So I hope this explanation makes some kind of sense. And Jacqueline, you also mentioned in your comments that akathisia can also be as a result of not only coming off of other meds, but also the result of being on other meds. So I also took an antidepressant for a very long time. I was on Pristiq, I was on Zoloft, I was on just about every antidepressant that you could think of. And I was also on Lamictal because I was diagnosed with bipolar. So, you know, a combination of those meds plus benzodiazepines plus coming off of other stuff that I was on, you know, who knows, it was just a potent concoction of drugs, and it could have all contributed to the akathisia. For me, I felt that restlessness and that irritable jumpiness of my nervous system after I came off the drugs. I don't think for me personally, I didn't experience it while I was on the drugs. But definitely afterwards, it left me in a state of being unable to relax, and it left me in a state of being unable to rest my body when my body really, really wanted rest, especially if I was alone. If I was alone at my house or in a room and I just wanted to sit there and relax and read a book or watch TV or whatever it is, I would physically be unable to. I would have to get up. I would have to go for a walk. I would have to go somewhere. And that's why I was always moving. I was always on the move. I was always on the run. And I think that's why I went for so many car rides, because when I was moving in a car, it was like I had this constant, insatiable, unquenchable thirst for momentum, for forward momentum. So I had to be moving all the time. I had to be in my car, or I had to be walking, or I had to be going somewhere. I could not just sit around. If I tried to sit around and relax, it would drive me crazy. It would drive me mentally crazy, and I just could not do it. So again, that's why I think I went for so many long car rides, is because I could actually sit down and let my body kind of relax, but yet I still had that forward momentum where I was like going somewhere. So it relaxed me enough to where I could just kind of sit there and not have to feel like I needed to get up and go and go. But it was hard. And for me, I think it lasted for probably close to a year, but certainly the first 6 months of it were the worst. What made it even harder, I think, is the fact that my body was so heavy and so hard to move, and my muscles were so weak, and it always felt like my nervous system was like clamping down on my muscles, like clamping down on my body, and I was always like hunched over, like with anxiety and exhaustion, and I couldn't stand up straight. I just always felt so tired, and like my muscles weren't getting any energy that they needed to move. And somehow I still managed to exercise because I felt like I just kept telling myself that, like, at least if I get to the gym and I go for a workout or I go on the treadmill for a while, maybe I can start to rebuild some of those neurons and healthy chemicals in my brain again, that I can kind of get past this. And I think it definitely did help, but exercise, that could be a whole nother topic and a whole nother video, because some of us are completely intolerant to exercise. Lifting too heavy of weights can overtax the nervous system, so there is a balance to be found there. But the akathisia was a very troubling symptom, and I don't even think I learned about the term akathisia until I was probably a couple years post withdrawal. I think in that first year, I don't even think I knew that there was a terminology for it. All I knew was that I couldn't sit around. I was completely restless. And it drove me nuts, and it drove my family nuts too, because I was always, making them get up and move with me and go do stuff when they were just like, God, Dan, I just want to relax, man. Come on. But certainly, I think by the end of the first year, it had mellowed out quite a bit. And I feel like it's hard to remember, when these symptoms dropped off. And a lot of people ask me, when I started to get better. And I can't say on what day or what month or what year, but I can tell you that I feel like around between 6 and 9 months, I feel like I started to get a lot better. And then after a year, and then after 2 years, and then I think after the first 2 years, it was just a kind of slow, gradual dropping off of symptoms. The funny thing is, for me, I came off of everything. September 27th of 2015 was my last Klonopin I ever took. I don't think I ever really learned how to actually let myself rest and rejuvenate until the COVID pandemic hit. And in April of 2020, I got laid off from my job due to the pandemic. And then I was unemployed for 14 months. And during that time, I actually learned how to slow down, how to let my body relax. Because just naturally too, I've always just kind of been a busybody and a go person. And I tend to be kind of frantic in my endeavors to get things done and accomplish tasks. And there's definitely something to be said about having a healthy balance between doing what I need to do at a healthy pace and also letting my body have its rest that it needs. And I'm 41, and I just learned in the past year or two how to do that. And I still get caught up in doing too much, but I'm a lot better about it. We need to make time for ourselves, to give ourselves the space to recoup, and to give our bodies time to heal, especially when we're going through benzo withdrawal. I mean, going through benzodiazepine withdrawal is so hard on the body. I'll tell you something. Before I came off of benzos, this beard, it was all black. All of it. This was all black, all through. Going through benzodiazepine withdrawal and coming off of Klonopin in a rapid 9-day taper at that treatment center that I was at, plus Suboxone, plus 4 or 5 other psych drugs. In that month's time, this is what happened to my beard. I'm not kidding you. It went gray. It went gray on both sides. And I'm fine with it, but I'm just saying, like, how taxing it is on your body to go through benzodiazepine withdrawal. I mean, I'm not telling you guys anything you don't know. You know how hard it is on you if you're going through it or you've been through it. I mean, it's absolutely horrendous what it does to you. But I think the main thing that healed the akathisia was just time. I think it was just going through the process of coming off benzos, and finally, years later during the pandemic, actually learning how to let my body rest and heal and do what it needs to do to recharge. I know also that I had to stay away from caffeine and sugar. The first year that I was off benzos, I had almost no caffeine unless it was a tea, which I drank a lot of tea, and I still do drink a lot of tea. Um, but sugar was a big one. I really had to cut out sugar as much as I could, as often as I could. And I don't know about where you live in the world, but here in the United States, they put sugar in everything. All our food has sugar in it. Every meal of the day, you have to really be very mindful and cognizant about what you're eating to try to avoid sugar if you can, because that seemed to rev up my symptoms of akathisia. I still feel like I'm saying that word weird. Akathisia. The things that helped me the most: staying off of sugar, staying away from caffeine, and whatever exercise I could get really helped me. And sometimes all I could do for the day was to just keep myself moving, because I knew I couldn't rest. I knew I couldn't let my body recharge like it needed to. So I just kept that forward momentum going. I would just go out and about on the town, and I would find walking trails, I would find parks, and I would just keep going, and I would just keep finding things to do just to keep myself moving and keep myself busy, because that seemed to be some days often the only thing that I could do to stay sane from that troubling internal symptom that was always trying to get me to keep moving and keep going, and completely taking away my ability to rest, relax, rejuvenate, and recharge. So I hope you found this video helpful, guys. Again, Jacqueline, thank you so much for the suggestion for the video. If you guys have any other suggestions, anything that you think might help, please leave a comment, let me know. If you do want to get a hold of me personally, my Instagram, philosophical_fishing, you can direct message me there. And thank you guys. I wish you love, healing. Love you guys.